All right. So this podcast number one, right? Pretty
Number
exciting.
one.
Yeah. I think it's crazy. This is something that we've been wanting to do for quite some time, a couple of months now. When I feel like the first time we talked about doing something like this.
Yeah, I think there was a period where we just wanted to produce at the biggest scale we could, like at
Yeah.
the largest quantity.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's where the conversation maybe started.
Yeah.
And the fact that we used to have so many long conversations like outside of like school and stuff. And we're like, why aren't we documenting these things
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
for ourselves and for all the millions of people that should hear this?
Yeah. Yeah, all of them. All of our 1 million followers already.
Yeah.
No. But I feel like and a lot of it too, especially over the summer, was the like us listening to other people's podcasts. Just the amount of people that were like, "Oh, this guy's so great," and this guy's so great, and just
Yeah.
absorb information.
Um, yeah. We were at a similar starting point, like when the inception of this idea,
Mm.
um, both in both like literally like in space, like where we were on the planet, but also like interest wise, um, like our thinking. And then now, 5.5, 6 months or whatever it is later from that period, we are not in the same place as each other. And we're also have diverged career wise, um,
Yeah,
like hobby wise, how we spend our time,
yeah,
and we haven't had a chance to like talk about it or anything else that's really happened. Like it's mostly just like sending memes and like
yeah,
making
yeah,
fun of each other. We haven't had like real discourse or conversation on anything.
yeah. And that's something that I've really missed. Like since like one of the big, like most memorable moments of college was being able to have those like big long talks at barachos of all
Barachos,
places.
specifically the
Shout
barachos.
out to barachos. They can get us some.
Yeah,
We
do we
be
get a
their first
sponsor?
sponsor. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Um.
take a sponsor. They're good conversation spot.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah. I think thinking about it now, one of the reasons why I want to do something like this is because to me, some of the most intelligent people are podcasters. Like to me, when they get to
Einstein.
listen, yeah,
Yeah.
that Einstein, yeah, no, no,
I think yeah.
um, like Rich Roll, Tom Bilyeu, Joe Rogan, all these people,
Joe Rogan. Wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. But I think
He's
just the
smart in
way,
his own way.
yes,
Smart in
but
his
I
own
think
like.
I think the reason is that like they are able to be so open-minded that they can just absorb everyone's kind of thoughts and ideas and how they kind of come about their ideas, their thought process.
Hmm.
Um, and then that kind of just makes them people that are just so easy to side with or to like you understand their points and they're just really, really smart.
Okay, I do have an observation on that.
Okay.
I'm gonna tie this into design a little bit.
Sure.
Um,
Go
you
ahead.
know
Even though I
how
don't like
we?
it.
It's okay. I'm gonna
Design is dead.
Roy's thing now. This is Roy's time. Roy's design segment.
Yeah.
So we used to talk about how, and I think we still do, how people's sources are so limited. Um, we're like, wow, everybody sucks because they only go on Pinterest and they only go on Instagram.
Hmm.
Um, and as soon as you like open up like blow off the walls from that those limitations and you start to pull from other sources and stuff, that's when you truly gain like interesting perspective, a voice of your own. You have all these points of reference to grab from, and I think the same can be said for these people that you're talking about,
Okay.
because their job is to one, be open-minded and give people a platform and just soak in information and then put out information to people. So like their job is to just constantly have as many sources as they can, and interesting and viable and like quality sources. And
Hmm.
that's like what most people should be like trying to do in their own creative fields. And I would probably say like non-creative too, like your job, your career, your hobbies and stuff. you should be like, your horizons should be open. And that's exactly what these podcasters do. Like, they have so many sources and things to pull from and points of reference. So I don't know. That's my design. That's my design
No,
overlap.
I like that a lot because yeah, it's just like being able to kind of step out of like your head and see things from other people's point of view is really important for whatever you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think like even for what I'm doing now, which is totally different from design, like EMT shit.
Yeah, which you
Like
should talk about too.
yeah,
After this point, give a little
okay,
talk.
all right. But yeah, like going into somewhere where there's so many things you have to be thinking about that in order to kind of really know what you're doing, you have to be able to see yourself in the third person almost and be like, am I doing this right? It's like recording yourself on a video and then looking back like if you're weightlifting, right? And you record yourself doing the deadlifts. You say, "Oh, my form isn't good here and I need to work on this." And it's the same thing, you know, you need to be able to step out of that and take a look at all the things that you're doing.
Uh-huh.
Um, it's just I think it's really important, like one of the core things that you need to have as a person to really grow.
And yeah, I think there's like there's a huge relationship between like the perspective that you have and the objectivity that you have.
Mhm.
So like like we used to always say in design, like just being objective and like remain. I like the phrase. What was it? Passionately disconnected or something like that. That's something I lately saw. Chris Dome,
Okay.
shout out.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Yeah, of course. Passionately disconnected. But then to like take a step back and see the big picture, see the forest for the trees.
Yeah,
Okay, but how about we each give like a little quick rundown of what we're up to? So for the
sure.
thousands of people listening, and for
Yeah,
ourselves when we listen back on this, we have a point of reference.
sure. Yeah, so we can kind of do introductions too, because we didn't really do that either, but
Okay.
so you can go first. I'll let you go.
Oh, okay. Um, is this like an introduction of like me formally, like Roy formally?
It can be it can be you informal. How's that?
Okay. So I'll do the informal thing because I've actually been thinking about how to introduce myself lately.
Okay, that's interesting. Like just to
And
anybody?
kind of,
Like
but
just to be
also I
like,
was like,
hey, I'm a designer.
kind of, yeah, I was thinking, so I'll preface this by saying my name is Roy and I'm 23 years old. I'm from the middle of Wisconsin and now I live in New York City temporarily, potentially permanently. We'll find out in the next week.
Mhm.
With that said, I've been thinking a lot about when someone asks like, "Who are you? What can you tell me a little bit about yourself?" It's like
Mhm.
your name, your age, what you do, where you're from, and really
Yes.
that is like not important at all
Yeah, it's
to who
boring
you are.
shit, right?
It's
It's just
boring shit, and it's like not what matters. It's like, yeah, we fill our day, we fill our 9 to 5 with whatever it's going to take to make money. Sometimes, like, hopefully, you enjoy those 8 hours, but
mhm,
what the interesting stuff is like what happens outside of those for most people. And I
mhm.
mean, if there's overlap, awesome, good for you. That's what you should strive to do. But I was thinking like when I'm in a job interview or something, and they're like, "Tell us about yourself." It's like you hear that question and you a switch flips, you go on autopilot and you're like, sick. I got 90 seconds to just coast. I
Yeah.
know exactly what I'm going to say. It's going to sound so eloquent. I'm going to have this perfect story formatted. I'm 23. I'm from River Falls, but I'm in a big
Yeah.
city now. Like and you're so proud of it, but it
Yeah.
doesn't matter. Like I was thinking like, I want to talk about, I'm super driven. I'm super ambitious. I set really high standards for myself. And
Okay.
sometimes I don't hit them and I beat myself up. Like there's so much complexity surrounding me and I wrap it up in this little cubicle of this perfect story that I hand off
Yeah.
that isn't even really relevant or sufficient in
Yeah.
describing me. So with that said, as a little introduction to myself, I'll take a bit from Tom Bill U. I
Sure.
really think I try my hardest to be a learner. to turn every situation into a learning opportunity. And I'm not just stealing this. I've thought about this because I think you and I are on the same page with this.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, for sure.
uh, and when I look at a situation, when I'm trying, the thing I'm trying to get most out of life and my current involvement with people is learning as much as I can. Um, when I wrote down in my notebook previously what things I value, and the top three were ability to be creative, ability to grow, and then it's linked up with ability to grow is ability to learn.
Mm,
So those were like my big things. So
okay.
that's an introduction to myself. I am living in New York City at the moment. For future Roy listening, um,
Yeah.
you might be here in a couple weeks, or you might not. So
Yeah.
things are up in the air.
When we have 6 million followers and you're looking back at episode 1, you're like,
Yeah,
wow, this loser was in New York. Now I'm in LA.
now I'm in Dubai.
Yeah, Dubai, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
No, I really like that a lot. Kind of a side note was I was at this bonfire of Jordan's maybe like a month or two ago of our friend Jordan. Um,
Yep.
and one of her friends, her other friends was like, when people ask you, like, what are you up to? Or how's your, like, what's going on in your life? People will just say, like, oh, just busy at work. It's
I'm
like,
good. I'm busy. Yeah.
yeah, just working. And he's like, that's stupid because nobody cares about that. It's
Hmm.
like nobody wants to hear that you just went to work and you go to sleep and you do all this boring stuff. And people want to be like, yeah, I just climbed a mountain last week. I just like went kayaking. I just skydived. I just got this huge job offer, doing all this crazy stuff that you
Training
enjoy.
for a marathon, like
Yeah,
cool
like
personal things.
literally doing anything other than going to a 9 to 5. And so that's kind of like goes hand in hand with the introducing yourself is,
Yeah.
you know, it's like we get so stuck into these routines of this is how everyone's done it, so this is how we need to do it type of thing.
Hmm.
Introductions, interviews, getting jobs, like everything is just society has just laid out the template for us. And
Even in like class, they'd be like icebreaker time. We're all gonna
yeah,
go around and introduce ourselves. And the first three people kind of do the same thing, and then everybody just goes, "Hi, I'm Roy. I'm a senior. I'm a graphic design major, and this summer I went to Montana."
yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah.
So
That's and all those things where it's like the professor stops everybody. They're like, I know everyone hates these, but we got to do it anyways. Why are we doing it if we all hate it? None of us
yeah,
want to do it. None of us will remember anything from it, except for maybe the very first person who said that they went skiing, and that's about it. Then you just forget and just we don't need that. Anyways, I'll give a little intro for me. So I'm Richie or Richard or Rich. I don't people just call me whatever the hell they want to call me
Finn
nowadays.
Haas, Thunder
Yeah,
Falcon.
yeah, Thunder Falcon. Yeah, that's a shout out to Chris Dio. Um,
CT.
yeah, um, but
Chris, if you're watching this, you need to email me back.
yeah, yeah, do it. Um, but yeah, used to be a graphic designer, not anymore because I don't care about it. Design is dead to me. Um,
Ooh,
yeah,
ouch.
no, not really. I still like design is a big part of my life, but it's not something that I feel like I should be making all the time. I know you can't relate to that, but it's like
We'll
I
talk
can
about that.
appreciate it for what it is, but I don't want to do it. So
Okay.
now doing something that I want to do that's difficult as all fuck, which is becoming a paramedic. And it's just amazing. Like I love everything that we're learning about. Like
Mhm.
learning how to intubate somebody or just learning about all of these diseases and how they affect people is just it's something that is so interesting to me. So doing that, which is pretty awesome. Um,
Can
one of the
you?
big things.
No,
Yeah.
sorry. Go ahead and finish. I'll write
Oh,
it down and we'll ask you later.
okay. Um, and so kind of going along with what Roy said during his intro is that for me, it's all about experiencing as much as I can in this world before I'm gone. I feel like we get so trapped in these boxes of like, oh, I'm gonna go to college for 4 years into the major that I kind of like to do, and then I'm gonna get a career in a career field that I kind of like to do, and I'll do that for 50 years, retire, be an old person, you know, and then I'll
Die.
just die. Yeah. And it's like, that's not what I want to be doing with my life. And everybody that I talk to, I go say, hey, I'm a EMT major. I used to be a graphic design major. I kind of switched after I graduated. And they're just like, oh, well, it's great that you figured that out early for your career. I'm like, fuck that shit. Like, I don't
Who
be,
cares about
who
the
cares about
C
a
word?
career? Yeah. It's
The C
so
word, dude. That's what we're calling it
the
now.
C word, yeah. But it's like, what I want to do is experience something. What I love to do is take something that I don't know anything about and then become an expert in it and then start from scratch and do something else. So right now it's being a paramedic. Even at work, they put me in all of these new positions almost every other day. And I'm just learning more about this thing that I have no idea about. And so being a learner, just experiencing as much as I can, there's like if you really think about it, there's so much in this world that we have no idea about. Like,
I was watching I don't know, I think it was a commercial of all things, and it gave me
okay.
goosebumps. Usually I just I get pissed at commercials that are like trying
Yeah.
to be like super goosebumpy. But
Yeah.
this one was like, even if you spent every waking second of your life exploring the earth, you could never see all of it. Even if you lived to be 120 years old, you'd never see all of it.
Mm-hmm.
That is like insane. I mean, it's kind of sad,
It
but
is sad.
also
Yeah.
it's like, how much time have I wasted already? I'm 23. I got another
Yeah,
80 years,
exactly.
hopefully. But like, and I'm not going to maximize the next 80 years, not because I can't or I'm lazy, but just because that's not the reality of it. However, like, it's really sad to think that the routine and the common lineage for people is to not get to do those things.
Yeah. And like when people talk about having a bucket list, it's like I don't want a bucket list. I want the list to
I
just
want a
be my
bucket
life.
life. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. That sounds kind of stupid, but
A bucket life.
yeah.
No, yeah. I know that's like one of those cliches. I don't want a bucket list. I
Yeah.
want a bucket life.
Yeah, I
Live,
could see
laugh.
that a Pinterest post with some nice floral decorations and
Dude, I saw this meme last night. I saved it on my phone, and it's this guy like walking home with the girl, and they kind of get to her house, and they're about to like do the dirty. Have you seen this?
yeah, didn't you send it to the group chat?
Oh, I did. He looks
Is
at the
that-
wall and goes, "Live every moment, laugh every day, love beyond words." And the next frame is him walking home in
yeah.
the. I was like, "That's awesome."
Mhm.
Anyway,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
Just
is
for
that
me,
your intro for yourself?
yeah, that's kind of my intro, yeah. And so it goes into that whole like just trying to explore everything that I can, everything that I'm interested in. I want to look back and be able to say like, wow, I can't believe that I learned how to be a paramedic or a firefighter. Um, or like I learned how to fly plane or I learned how to do this or this. So that's really kind of all about me right now. So
Nice.
that's what I'm all about.
I wanted to ask, you talked about why you didn't want to do design anymore, but you didn't really talk specifically about why you chose EMT, that
Mm,
side of things.
yeah. So that's kind of interesting because it was almost like I don't want to do design anymore. Well, then what's the first thing that I kind of like saw? I was like, boom, I'll just do that. Like if you were to ask me right now, like, why'd you choose to be an EMT? I would say because I just felt like it. It was just kind of like off the cuff, just like,
Uh-huh.
oh, let's try this out, see how it turns out. Um,
Well, I suspect that it's some evolution of the previous summer where you wanted to be a police
yes, a
officer,
little bit, yeah. Well,
and that
like
did that stem from some like social calling or like higher?
I think a little bit. I've thought about this for maybe the past couple of weeks. Um, won't really go into big details because it regards work, but just kind of like what I kind of want the outcome to be from whatever job I'm at. is I don't want to be doing some kind of like, I don't want to be just a gear in the like a cog in the machine. And I got to do something that has some sort of value to people, not just a company. And so I really been looking at trying to find something where I can help people, because that's really what I'm looking for, is this kind of like public service thing. And that's kind of what the comp thing was about, and it's kind of what the EMT thing is about as well. So it kind of stems from that. Yeah.
I think it also kind of fits into the story of like doing as much as you can with what you're given. Like
Mhm.
if you're looking to maximize your positive impact or your output in this world, it's like making logos
Mhm.
versus like getting people out of fires or like saving
Yeah.
people's lives. Obviously, those do not equate on the scale of like social importance, or when you look back and you maybe want to measure these things up.
Yeah.
Um,
But that's not to say that design is something that you shouldn't go for because it doesn't serve that same purpose.
yeah,
But it's just like, if that's what you're looking for, then maybe you should go something more towards public service rather than public, like corporate service almost. It's just
it's
helping
like
like a
public
company.
interest versus like public service.
Yeah, yeah, a little bit, yeah. Um, but even in design, you're solving problems, whether
Mm.
you're if you're even if you're a phone designer, right? You're trying to figure out how to make people's lives easier. Um, whether or not that's a necessity or just a want for people is a little bit different, but I think you can still feel that kind of rewarding feeling of, oh, I helped these people because now, um, they have this feature on their phone and things like that.
I think you can like check a lot of what you're doing. You know, you can like have a reference checklist, and I think like did it improve someone's life? Did it make things easier? Like those are references to make when you're working, but I
Mm,
don't think that's like the reason people are in it. You know, um,
yeah.
like I
You mean
think
design or
yeah, design, yeah.
okay.
And I think there's a lot of people like you look historically and people talk about like social improvement. You look at like Vignelli, you know, and everything's
Hmm.
like to improve social life. But I think that's more of like a it has to check that box for it to work rather than like
Okay.
the reason for doing it. You know,
Yeah.
does that make
Well, that's
sense?
interesting because a lot of the design history that we learned, which was very little because we were falling asleep the whole time in class,
Yeah.
but of what we
Sorry.
what I remember is a lot of it was about social reform and
Hmm.
changing things through history. And when you think about design nowadays, it's not really about that. It's about
Yeah.
like promoting a product or creating a product for somebody rather than saying, hey, we need to stand up against this issue, which is
And
really
that's
strange.
like one of the reasons I'm in a weird place like with my work right now is I don't feel that pull of like a real justification for the energy I'm putting into things because at the end of the day like I'm selling a toothbrush or I'm selling a pair of shoes or like that's
Hmm.
that's what the problem I'm trying to solve is I'm trying to make a marketer's life easier or I'm trying to make it something look prettier, and that's cool, like
Yeah.
whatever. But that is a different ball game than trying to change people's perception of like a social issue, or trying to change the way people think, or teach people. Um,
Hmm.
and that's like the progression I'm trying to make, not only in like my personal work, if I like my Instagram, not to like just never shut up about that because I know I don't ever shut up about it, but uh,
Yeah, every day I got 27,322 followers now.
I did not. I did not say I have more.
Okay.
No, I'm just kidding, but I do.
No,
I'm
I
shooting myself
really
in the foot.
I really like that point that you just made. It's like, I think it's like right now at your point in the design career is you're still in the entry design. you're still making design for things that people have designed, right? You make a poster for a shoe, or you do this for this other product. And what you're trying to do, what it sounds like, is you want to get to the point where you're making a shoe, where you're designing the initial product for the consumer. Does that make sense? Is
I
that
think that would
kind
be
of
a more valuable position, but I don't know if that's like the ultimate where I want to take things.
okay?
Also, and it's not like I think you can have both. Like I think you can. This is what I was talking about earlier. It's like you got 8 hours a day. You got to make money so you can fulfill the other 16. But if you can spend those 8 hours enjoying your time creating products or developing like solutions to problems, that's cool. But then utilizing your talents, the things you've learned in those 8 hours to influence like perceptions or like I said, teach, change people's minds,
Mm-hmm.
or just evolve the state of design. So I actually was just thinking about this today as I was like making my poster. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I want to have radical ideas in design.
Yeah,
Like I
yeah,
I don't know what those radical ideas are, but it's like I can't remember the last time I saw a radical idea.
yeah.
And if I did, I probably just dismissed it because it was too radical. I didn't even want to think about it.
Well, no,
I'm like,
I know what it is. It's
what?
Chobani. Chobani was the big one, I think, for us specifically, and
I
maybe
don't
not
know
in
if that
terms
was
of like.
radical, but I
I
will
feel
say
like
that
it
was
was
like,
definitely something that caught us off guard and was like, take a look at this stuff
yeah,
instead of what we were being taught in school, because school was all about grids, Swiss design, and then we're like, hold up, look at this Chobani stuff, and that
yeah.
kind of set you on this whole different path. But
That's probably true. I think maybe it's revolutionary in a different sense.
yeah,
Maybe it's more evolutionary than it didn't like piss anybody off really, I think it was just kind of like, wow, this is the right solution. And it was
yeah,
like so correct that it ended up like, I mean, now it's so much shit looks like that. Like not just food, like not just yogurt, but like that's like set something in motion that's continued. Um,
yeah,
but I think that was paradigm shifting for you and myself and how we viewed the potential of like branding and things like that.
yeah, yeah. So you're thinking just revolution in terms of it needs to be this like quick switch then? Does it have to be something that really just like comes out of nowhere, just everywhere all of a sudden? Is that what
I
you're
think
thinking of?
I
Or
think things that are revolutionary like piss people off. Um,
okay.
that
So you almost want to do like some kind of data style, just be like boom, and then see it just like start to grow almost.
kind of. I think that's like the way I'm pushing things a little bit.
Yeah.
If I mean, I know you don't go on Instagram, but you've seen some
Yeah,
more
not too
recent
often.
stuff. Um,
Yeah.
I'm I'm at a point now where I kind of like want to provoke a little bit. Like
Okay.
I want to make I don't know, like it's weird as soon as you have an audience, you can kind of do
Yeah.
whatever you want. It's like
Yeah.
when you look at
Yeah.
like a band and they put out like 3 albums that are like mainstream and then they
Yeah.
get a ton of fans and then they throw then Radiohead makes Kid A or something and then everyone's like everyone hates it. And
Yeah.
Radiohead is probably like, this is awesome. Like this
Mhm.
is a curveball. This is what I want to
Yeah.
do right now. So that's what I would say it's like.
Okay. No, that's cool. I like that. The whole like just it's like once you can reach a point where you're big enough to just be like, I'm kind of like everybody else on Instagram right now.
Mhm.
Like just making art every day, and some people like my stuff, and there's no real backlash against me. I'm just an Instagram artist or whatever. Um, and it almost feels like it can get boring. I don't know if that's how you feel about it, or um,
Yeah.
so you
I think
kind of
it
just
gets
want to
really
just
boring and it's I've had remember I had this problem way back even when I started. I was like, I'm just making pretty pictures. I'm not thinking, I'm
mm,
not doing anything. You get to a point where it's like I could make something look pretty every day for the rest of my life with no struggle. Like I'm
yeah.
good enough to do that.
Hmm.
But as soon as I can start making ugly shit, Like that's kind of cool. Or you can start to like inflect your thinking into this. That's cool. And that's when you elevate. And that's when you throw the
Yeah.
curveball in, because as soon as things get comfortable and too easy, that's when you switch. And that's exactly what you were talking about when you're like at work. You're like, I want to learn as many things as you can. I want to pivot. I want to try
Mhm.
something new and learn as much as I can in that regard, and then pivot again. And I don't care if people keep up with me or not. It's not about that, you know. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it's the same for you too. You obviously don't care.
Hmm.
You're just doing whatever works best for you, whatever interests you, whatever. It doesn't matter if there's a number on your Instagram page of followers you have or whatever. It's
Hmm.
like it's almost like when things are going really well. I've said this before. When things are going really well, that's when I most feel like switching them up.
Hmm.
Um, uh,
Yeah.
and that has been true for me a lot. Like when I think about when like I'm offered a job or something, that's almost when I just want to turn it down and be like, like I was
Yeah.
offered it. Like I don't need it now in a weird
Yeah.
way. I mean, it's not
No,
actually the case, but yeah,
yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. It's this feeling of like it's it's when you cross the finish line and you're like, I did it. Next thing, what's the next thing?
yeah,
Right? Like you're striving not to have the job, not to be working the 9 to 5 at the job. You're striving for the job offer to be like, yep, I'm good enough for this job. Time to get something even better. And so that's exactly what it's been for me as well. It's just like, oh, I know this thing. Like I'm done with it, you know?
yeah,
Like I graduated high school or graduated college as a graphic designer. Don't care for it anymore. Time to make a switch, you know? I know as much as I want to know about it, so it's time to move into something that I know nothing about, which is being a paramedic now. And I think
so
that's what I love about it. So, go
like
ahead.
we set goals in our head and we never think about what comes after the goals, you know, because
Hmm.
that's like it's a goal. Like why
Yeah.
would there be anything? And I don't think we assume it to be the end point, but we just don't bother thinking. Like when I think to myself every day, I think I want to work at Nike. I
Hmm.
don't think about what comes after that. Yeah, in the back of my head,
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe someday I'll teach, but I don't think what comes immediately after that. I think about what working at Nike would look like, but then
Okay.
but then you get hired at Nike and you're like, wow, there, I'm,
Yeah. It's
we're
like,
going A to Z and I'm at F.
yeah. Yeah.
I didn't think about GHI, LMNO, what QPRS. I didn't
Yeah.
think about anything that comes after it.
That's funny because I think about going from where I'm at now, all the fucking hard work it takes to get to the point that to my goal, right? I
Mm-hmm.
go from right now I can only run 7 miles to signing up for a marathon in the fall. I'm not thinking about what those 26 miles are gonna feel like, but I know that like thinking about it now, like cognitively, it's gonna fucking suck.
Mm-hmm.
But all this training leading up to it, I don't care. It's 26 miles, right?
Yeah.
Couldn't give a fuck.
Mm-hmm.
And then once I run that, while I'm running it, it's gonna suck. And after that, I'm be like, it's over. And so for me, it's just I'm just trying to reach the point to where I've made it, and then I'm moving on. Like if I get
Yeah.
a job as a paramedic, is a month in, 2 months in, I'm gonna be like, I'm bored. What's next?
Yeah.
So it's not even really working the job. It's not even the event itself. It's just reaching the opportunity to get the event.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, well, I know that I can do whatever it is that I'm doing. So I want to find something even more difficult. And that's kind of backfiring on me a little bit. And
Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds like it to you a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but it's like, I can never stop to smell the roses. I know you said that to me once, maybe a month or two ago.
What did I
And
say?
you were questioning me about working hard all the time.
Uh-huh.
And you were like, don't you ever get time to stop and smell the roses? I was like, yeah, I do. But after thinking about it, I don't. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just constantly moving to the next thing. I never have time to appreciate where I'm at. And it's been getting to me a little bit, but I don't know. I'm trying to find that balance, which is really has been tough. But yeah.
I had something to say about that. Now I forgot because you caught me off guard with the roses comment.
Oh, yeah.
I think I wonder because you talk about like this grand perspective that you gain at the end of your life, and you look back and you get to say, fuck
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
I did it all. I passed everybody up. And that's your roses. Those are the roses you get to smell right there. Is
yeah.
that is and I'm not questioning you, I'm just throwing it out there.
No, yeah,
Is
yeah,
is that bushel of roses worth more to you than all the intermittent ones along the way that you missed?
yeah. That's interesting. I think that's kind of something, and we haven't talked about Goggins at all yet, but Goggins
No.
has been a main motivator for me. And
Uh,
he always talks about this. You suffer for like all this time and then you reach peace. That's how he reached peace. Was he did all this suffering and he found himself at the end. Um, and so I'm not sure if like that's the same path I need to go and it's just like work so hard that 20 years from now I can look back and see like, wow, I did all this.
mhm.
But then it's not really getting to appreciate that time while I'm in it. It'll all be me looking back.
Yeah.
Um, so that's, I don't know, that's been something that I need to think a little bit more about. But
We
I've,
we spoke about this because um, every day we're like, God, I miss the old days. You know, we say it
yeah,
every
yeah,
single day,
every
but
day.
we never take the time to think about where we are right now and go, maybe in a few months I'm gonna think about this. I mean, I know
Mhm.
myself, like I'm in New York City. I don't even process that every day. I'm in New York City. That's
Yeah.
so cool. And I
Like
did
a
it
year
all by
ago,
myself. Yeah.
like a
A
year ago,
year
you would have
ago,
never thought that you would be in New York, you
dude,
know?
if you would have told me that, I would have been so ecstatic. And now here I
Exactly.
am, and I'm reminiscing about time I had in a brick building in Eau
Yeah.
Claire,
At
which
3
is
a.m.
at 3 a.m. And that's not bad to do that. I'm not saying
No.
one is better than the other, but I need to be more present uh, and think about where I am right now. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty fucking cool that I'm in New York City right now,
Yeah.
because I know in if I'm not here in 5 months, I'm gonna throw on my headphones one day. I'm gonna play some music that I had listened to in New York, and it's gonna take me back, and I'm gonna be like, why didn't I take that in more? Why didn't I
Yeah.
appreciate it? And I
Yeah.
worry that you're gonna find the same thing to be true. You're gonna be like, God, I got out of school and I had this 6 month window to do whatever the fuck I wanted. I spent it staring at a textbook. And I'm not
Yeah.
criticizing you, by the way. I'm just saying I don't want this to happen to you.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. Yeah. I think that, but also because I know this, or because this has been kind of a reoccurring thought to me, I've been trying to appreciate things a little bit more. So just taking the time to be like, wow, like, look how much I've learned in the last 3 months about being an EMT. You know, a year ago, I, someone is bleeding out in front of me, I wouldn't know what the fuck to do. And now I can save that person's
You
life,
would have
you
made him a
know?
new logo.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. But now it's like there's just so much. And I think being able to appreciate that right now is something that I need to focus on. And it's tough because I'll be like, I did pretty fucking well on my physical test for patient assessments last week. Like, really fucking well. Um, but
I
then I
get it,
kind of
dude.
just, yeah, sorry, I'm
Just
bragging
kidding.
too much. But then I kind of just like moved on and I was like, I need to study more in this because I'm not that good in this area. And I'm not really like taking these opportunities to be like, wow, I really accomplished something great that I'd never done before.
Yeah.
Uh, so I think that's something that I need to take a little bit more time to think about. But
Have you been experiencing any level of like fatigue or burnout after all this?
I wouldn't call it burnout. I think when people talk about burnout, I think it's stupid.
Okay.
Like people talk about just getting tired of doing the things that you're talking about. I think when you reach that point, you need to keep pushing a little bit more, just a little bit, and you can kind of break over that so-called burnout. I have been getting a lot of mental fatigue, not about a specific thing that I'm doing, but just about like the amount of energy that I have to do things has been pretty low. I can tell because some nights I'll get like 5 hours of sleep, and I'll study 2 hours a day every day for the whole week, and then I'll be working a 9 to 5 at the same time, and it just mentally I'm like so exhausted. I can't like I'm not functioning at 100% of everything that I'm doing, and so that's kind of where I can see it falter a little bit, but I haven't really had an issue of burnout per se. It's been like I wish I had more time to study. I wish I had more time to go to the gym and really like work out at the gym, like be in the zone at the gym rather than be at the gym thinking about studying 2 hours later or the quiz I have to do tomorrow. Um, so if there's anything I wish for is I wish I had more time in the day, like extra 5 hours.
What about like emotionally?
Um, I
Are
think
you
it's been
staying pretty positive?
the last couple of weeks have been pretty rough, but I don't know if it's related. I think it's just related to the amount of energy I have. I don't
Okay.
think it's I think it's because I'm working so much that it just I can tell like if I don't get enough sleep and I have too many things on my plate that aren't in order, then I start to deteriorate a little bit emotionally wise, like mentally. Um, but if I can like write everything on paper, organize my chaotic week, then I'll be set. I'll be like, I fucking got this week.
Mhm.
Um, so it's not even really the workload, I guess. It's more of when it's I don't know what the next step is and there's so many steps. And then I'll just be like, I don't feel like I don't know what to do, so I'm just not gonna do anything. I'll watch YouTube for an hour. And
Yeah.
that's where I'll start to spiral. And if I can pull myself out of there, it all starts with cleaning my room. Clean my room, make a list of all the shit I have to do for the rest of the week, then I can go from a 0 to 100 and I'll be like
Mhm.
in the best mood in the world.
And then inversely, you can just as easily go from 100 to 0 if something collapses along the way,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
I've I've found this to be so true because I'm trying to lose a couple pounds, right?
Mhm.
You've known me for a long time. I'm always trying to lose a couple pounds,
Yeah,
right?
always, yeah.
Always. But
When's it gonna end?
well, I'm actually doing really well right now. But what happens is if you collapse at 11 a.m., your
Hmm.
brain is so nasty. It really tries to get you to keep that downward slope because it's like
Yeah,
the
it
day's
loves it.
ruined. It's 11 a.m. You fucked up. You had Twizzlers for lunch. You
Uh-huh.
had a 2,000 calorie lunch. That's more than you're supposed to get for the whole day. Fuck it. The whole day's over. Let's have a ball. Let's go down.
Yeah.
We're going down together. And I would, I'm, from what you're saying, it sounds like kind of the same thing. You watch an hour of YouTube and you're like, the day's gone.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can just, I'll reset tomorrow because we're so wired to reset things in the morning rather than just take
Mhm.
accountability and push through.
Yeah.
Um, and it's so much harder to get back on track to do half a day of proper like discipline after half a day of being undisciplined as opposed to doing a full day of being disciplined. Have you
Yeah.
noticed that?
Yes. Yeah.
It
I
is
totally agree.
exponentially harder.
It's all about the very first thing that you do in the morning. I know
Hmm.
for a lot of these podcasters, I would call them like almost like theorists, kind of more like practitioners, I guess. Um, like if you ask them what things they do when they first wake up, it's like Tom Bilyeu always wakes up within the first 10 minutes of his alarm,
Hmm.
no more. And there's lots of people like Goggins makes his bed every day. Military thing, but it's still because you can say like, I mean, I accomplished something. It's 6 a.m. My bed is made, and now I can do whatever I want.
Yeah,
And
I think this is like fact. I don't even think this is like wishy washy. It worked for some people, it doesn't. I mean, I
mhm,
really think this is like it's a fact. If you set yourself in motion, you're off to a better start. I mean, are you
yeah,
familiar with Jordan Peterson?
a little bit. I wanted to listen to some of his podcasts. I know he's got a book too, but I haven't really dived too far into that.
He's a freaking smart guy. But he talks about this too. He's like, make your bed.
Hmm.
even if you're in a mess, like you're emotionally depleted, you're just at an absolute low point in your
Hmm.
life. If you can make your bed, you can build up. But if you can't make your bed, you're fucked. Like
Yeah.
you need to start from the basics. You need to start at the earliest point. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, I think that's really valuable. And it's funny because I don't make my bed every day.
Hmm.
But I think it's also an analogy
Yeah. Is there
for a
like
metaphor.
so? Is there something that you know of that like you have realized that you if you do this every day, you kind of like set yourself up for success?
If I wash my face, yeah. If I brush my
Okay.
teeth and wash my face every day, as gross
Okay.
as it is, some days there are days where I'm just like I'm not brushing my teeth this morning, and I
Yeah.
have ample time. I have
Hmm.
toothpaste. I have a toothbrush. I'm standing in front of the mirror, but I'm just lazy.
Hmm.
Um,
Hmm.
but I find if I wash my face and I brush my
Hmm.
teeth, if I take that extra 3 minutes to do that in the morning, things are off to a better start. Because
Okay.
it's not even a like conscious thing. If I
Yeah.
look back and I look back at the days that I caved in eating, if I ate too much food or ate a bunch of junk food,
Hmm.
they line up with the days that I don't wash my face. And maybe it's just like, I don't want to say it's just in the stars, like that was going to be a day that I was going to be a lazy pile of shit. Or
Yeah.
maybe it does start with something as simple as that.
Hmm.
But that's more on like the personal side of things.
Yeah. I think it's different for everybody. Because for me,
Okay.
it's exercise. Like if
Okay.
I
Yeah.
go to the gym or if I go for a run before work, I fucking can own work. Like it's a fucking easy day. But if I skip a day, and they can like I'll have days off, and those don't really count. If I have a designated day, say I'm going to the gym and then I skip, it's downhill from there. Like it's just
Yeah.
a fucking terrible day, and it feels like it's the longest day of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think it is different for everybody. Everyone has those things where it's like they get this done and they're set. You know, the rest of their day is fucking easy. And I think it's important to trying to figure out what those are.
Yeah. And if you have nothing in place, just like start at the common denominator, like make your bed, you know. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what there's a book about that called "Make Your Bed" or whatever, right?
Okay.
Um,
I don't
it's
know.
by a military dude. I should know
Oh,
who
I'm
wrote.
sure.
My brother has read it.
Mm.
My brother's a Marine,
Yeah.
military guy, so he's like makes his bed. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
And I know Goggins, he talks about going for a run every day. Because once you go for that run, dude, especially if you don't want to do it, you're waking up at 5:30 in the a.m. You don't want to go for a 6 mile run. But you do that shit, you're like, I just did the most difficult part of my day out. It's already done, you know? The rest of my day's a cakewalk. And then,
it's tough because you can do that, and then you could also say, "I already went for a run today. I can slack off the rest of the day."
yeah, I guess so. But I feel like a lot of the times when you're in that mindset of like if you make sure that you kind of push yourself beyond, like if you know you can run 2 miles and you run 3 miles instead, then you're kind of on like a high and you can
Yeah.
really get shit done.
And I think it also depends on what your goals are because you can equate running with like a physical goal. Um,
Hmm.
like for me, it's if my first lunch, if I don't lose it, if I don't overeat, if I don't eat junk food, my first lunch, then I feel great. And I'm like,
Hmm.
the hard work is already done. Now I know I can do it the rest of the day. And I think
Yeah.
that is what running is for a lot of people that are like trying to build muscle or trying to run a marathon or something. So
Hmm.
they can then their day can follow in alignment with that, aiming at their goals.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because if I wake up tomorrow morning and I run 5 miles, I'm gonna be a pile of shit the rest of the day because I'm gonna be like, I ran 5 miles this morning because it has no relationship to any of my goals. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I think you have to think about why you run, you know?
Yeah,
And I think that's a big thing too, is really thinking about every single thing that you do during the course of your day. Because if you just run just to run and you'd be like, oh, I ran, you know, I'm not going to do anything the rest of the day, then it's like, you should really think about the things that you're trying to accomplish. And like you said, like move towards your goals. And
hmm I asked you a couple weeks ago, like, why do you run?
Yeah,
And in like true Goggins fashion, you were
yeah,
just
true.
like, because it sucks or because I
Yeah,
hate it. And
and
I thought
that's
that was very interesting for a couple of reasons. Um, One, because that's just like not an answer you expect. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I kind of expected it because I knew like where you were with this whole Goggin, like
yeah,
where you
yeah.
were
At this point in
mentally.
time, yeah,
Yeah. But I also think it's very interesting because I love running. Like
and
we
yeah,
are
yeah.
opposites.
So
And
my dad says the same thing. He's like, I use running as a form of like relaxation,
yeah,
and I think a lot of it too is how you respond to the run while you're in the run, during the run, and post run.
mm,
I know those are out of order, but just like when I look outside and it's raining and it sucks, I'm like, I do not want to fucking run. I didn't want to fucking run when it was 70 and sunny, you know? And I gotta fucking run it's 50 and rainy. All right, fuck this shit. And
yeah,
I'm in that mindset and I can catch myself. I'm like, I know this sucks. So I'm gonna love it 10 times more when I'm done. And I
hmm
can be like, I just ran 5 miles in the rain and it's 50 degrees outside. It's windy. My shoes are soaked. I'm soaked. Nobody else is running. You know, it's like, why should I fucking be out here? And then during the run, I'm pushing myself. I'm exhausted. You know, my legs hurt. My lungs hurt. And I'm going like trying to hit new records or trying to maintain. And for a lot of people, they go for a run and they just enjoy it. You know, they're just enjoying the whole process. I don't know if you want to talk specifically about how you feel during your run, so you can kind of compare.
yeah. Um, I will preface this by saying I'm not running at the moment. Um,
Mhm.
I I had a period in my life right after I graduated high school where I was running a good amount and I was really enjoying it. I was fit, and then I went to college and I got fat and I stopped running. Um, and then I like stayed fat for a while, and then I went vegan. Um, and then I had all this energy. I was like, I need to run. Like this is, I feel so good. And
Mm.
running and going vegan kind of went hand in hand. I went vegan because I was looking into like running performance. Um,
Okay.
but then the following, I went vegan in the springtime, the day after Easter, and then that following summer, I ran so much. I still have the app on my phone because um, I I want to run again someday. But
Hmm.
um, I had this summer, which was the summer of 2017. Um,
Okay.
so it was only 2 years ago. Yeah, it was only 2 years ago. And which isn't a long time, but it feels like it was so long ago. And I ran a
It feels
lot
like
that summer.
forever.
Yeah. But 2 years is nothing,
No. No.
which gives me hope that I will someday run again. But that summer ended, like literally the last day of summer, I was working and I fucked up my knee so bad. Um, I like short of like blowing it out. Like I
Hmm.
don't know if I tore anything at the time, if I tore something and then it healed improperly, but I could not, I could barely walk properly for like a week. And then I tried to run because I was signed up for the marathon that year or that
Okay.
season, that marathon season or whatever. Maybe it was the following spring. Um, and after months and months of trying to run and just letting my leg heal, you know, I'm just leaving it alone. I'm just going to stay off it.
Yeah.
It's never been the same. My leg still bothers me even when I walk. And I have
Mm.
recently gone in for MRI, X-ray. I've had doctors look at it, and they can't figure out anything that's wrong with it.
Yeah.
But when I look back at this period, this 4 month, 5 month period of my life, like I was a runner, and that is such a part of me. Even
Hmm.
though I'm 2 years removed from it, and I physically can't go for a run right now, like I just ache to go for a run. Even just talking
Yeah.
about it right now. When you say you look outside and it's rainy, like I would give anything to be able to put on a pair of running shoes right now and go out and like breathe the air and like suck in air and like fill up my lungs and explore things and open my mind. Like I would give I seriously, I can't think of anything I wouldn't give. I would give like a finger. I
Yeah.
would give like 4 fingers to be able to run again injury free for the rest of my life and know
Yeah.
like to. I mean, I don't mind like pulling a muscle or something, but like significant injury free. There's a
Hmm.
lot of things I would give up to be able to do that. Like
Yeah.
so, like pre-run, sometimes like when I'm in a training routine, I think yeah, I get the same thing as you. It's like I don't know, like I could skip today, whatever.
Yeah.
But the moment I take 2 or 3 steps, like I have such a romantic relationship with my running shoes. Like
Yeah.
put those things on. It's like I'm running Roy. Like I'm gonna get out. It doesn't matter what's going on in my life. I'm gonna go
Yeah.
adventure. I'm gonna explore. In 30 minutes, I'm gonna be so far away from here mentally, physically. Um, and then you come back and like there's no better feeling than finishing a run.
Hmm.
You don't
Yeah.
know any. Um, so the whole experience for me is like there's a moment, there's a flash where you're like, it would be easier to sit inside and watch Netflix, but it's like high risk, high reward. Like you put in a little bit of effort, and the payoff is just multiplied by it exponentially. It's so much greater when you finish
Hmm.
that run and when you're on it. I love, even when it sucks, like I love it. Like I really,
Yeah.
really do, and I miss it dearly. Just this conversation makes me think I need to figure something out with my knee.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Because if you start running again, if you can figure it out, I've already planned for, I'm signed up for one marathon and planning two more next year. So I can add another one, It'd be sweet to go for a run with you. Because sign up for the Eau Claire Marathon, right? I'll run that in the spring.
Yeah.
I'm looking to run another one in Japan sometime when I go back in the summer.
Um,
December, I want to try to get my friend who lives in Hawaii to start running again. 'Cause he used to be a big runner. And there's the Honolulu Marathon in November, December. So I want to run that. Trying to get my dad back into running, but he's all fucked up too. But I told him I'd run a marathon in Japan with him too, around Mount Fuji. So, you know, you fix your knee, we can run a marathon. That'd be
I
sweet.
I'm just thinking to myself, like I'm even just getting like kind of choked up thinking about it. How much I enjoy running with people. Um,
Yeah,
I think about like that summer. Uh, I mean, I'm not like going to take credit or something, but I kind of got my brother into running a little bit, um,
yeah.
and, and I'm so proud of him. He just ran the Twin Cities Marathon a couple weekends ago. He had done the
Okay.
Eau Claire Marathon before that. I'm so incredibly proud of him.
Yeah,
But
that's
it's
awesome.
also very difficult for me to watch him go off and do all these things, and I feel like I should be right there with him because we were neck
Yeah,
and neck, like we were running together, and then now I'm just like in the dust.
yeah.
And even as I say this, and as I think, like I wonder if I should take some time off of work and go back to Wisconsin and do what I can to get my leg healthy. Um,
Okay.
in because really like when I was talking earlier about my values,
Yeah,
health, like that, those are career values and like life values, like grow,
yeah,
and be
yeah,
creative and things like that and learn. um, Health is like everyone talks about it. It's a cliche. It's like my health, my family, whatever, but
yeah, yeah.
health is one thing, but like your ability to perform the way you want to is something totally different. Like
I would agree. Yeah, yeah,
scraping by, it's like we have healthcare right now, but we're not healthy.
yeah.
Being healthy versus like being in a place to do whatever I want is different. Um,
Hmm.
and I really value that. And also, like as we are talking about, like if I think of my favorite 5 things to do, it's like hockey, running, designing. I mean, I don't know what else there is outside of those
Hmm.
3 things, and I'm only getting to do one right now.
Yeah, yeah.
That's stupid. Like
Yeah,
33%. Even if I was doing 2 out of 3, that's 66%. That's an F. Like that's
yeah.
failing. I mean, not that
That's
that
really
let.
that's it. No, that's an interesting thought though. That's one of the things when I think about people. Some people that kind of have this autopilot mindset, 9 to 5, come home, drink a beer, stay up till midnight, watch Netflix, binge watch, whatever. It's
Yeah.
like, how many things are they actually doing that they want to do in their life? Everyone talks about these bucket lists and, oh, I'll get to that or I'll do that sometime. It's like, along with me working hard, it's like, am I doing the things I want to do, even if they're difficult, you know? Because tomorrow I could be gone. And it's like, if there's some kind of heaven and I can look back on my life that I can no longer live, it's like, did I do the things that I wanted to experience in my life? Was I able to live a life that I said, hey, I want to do this thing, and then I just did it because it's my life and I can do it.
Yeah.
And so I think making sure that you're kind of hitting those things. You like to run, it's like we need to figure out how to get you to run again. It's like that Goggins mentality of you need to get to this goal. How the fuck are you going to do it? And you're going to do it no matter what because that's your goal. Um, so, yeah, so it's like if you are missing those 2 out of 3 things in your life, how can you get those back into your life?
Yeah. I should call my dad. I almost feel like we should just end it there, and I should go figure my shit out a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. Yeah.
I think maybe that's a good place to end it then. And
Sure.
I'm probably gonna give my dad a call, or I'm gonna
Yeah.
sort out what's important to me.
Yeah, figure out that process.
Yeah. Uh, I think I thought I had it figured out, but I think I was forgetting some things.
Yeah, I think it's easy to get sidetracked, to just be like, this is one of my goals, and then you just start, and then you forget about these other things that you were really like, you look back and you're like, why didn't I focus on this a little bit more? I miss it so much, but I've just been so focused on this other goal. I kind of got tunnel vision. So that's one of the big reasons why I wanted to do these podcasts is there's so many things that we know, but then we just forget about.
Yeah.
It's like that you want to go running, but it's taken you up to this point for us to bring it up and be like, wow, I really, really want to go running again. So I think that's why we really want to do these things.
Like even as you like we were just sitting here just chatting, like I had this feeling where I was like, oh my God, like maybe this is a really pivotal moment for me. And
Yeah, isn't that
what happens
crazy?
if 2 hours ago you had asked when do I want to do this and I hadn't said tonight? This conversation
Yeah,
probably would have looked a lot different because certain things would not have been top of
exactly.
mind and
Yeah.
we may have not arrived to this. And
Hmm.
maybe nothing. Maybe I call my dad and nothing happens. But maybe it's maybe in 3 years I'm running an Ironman with you and my brother, and it's like it's all
Yeah.
because of this. Like, I
Yeah, you
mean,
never fucking
that
know.
is a crazy what if, but I'm just saying, like it. Yeah, it's nuts, man.
Yeah, you have to keep an open mind. You really have to be like, could this be a life-changing moment for me? Like when I click that apply to be an EMT, my life
Mhm.
is taking a 180.
Yeah,
You have no idea what's gonna fucking happen, and so yeah, you never know when you get those moments of like I can't believe I just never thought about this before. It seems so obvious, but yeah,
awesome, man. Well, I think that's a good place to end episode
yeah, for
one.
sure. Yeah,
For a little over an hour, just chit
jeez,
chatting. It was about like the length of a Baracho's talk, I think.
yeah, yeah, that's
Um,
pretty good.
yeah, I think so too. We'll have to. Who knows how often we'll do these, but we can. I mean, I don't know if it's like a weekly thing, if that might be too much, or what the deal is, but or bi-weekly maybe would be more appropriate. But it'll be fun to catch up in 2 weeks and see where we are based on this conversation.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so awesome, man. Well, it's good to talk. I think
yeah,
we'll we're gonna end the podcast here, and everybody else for all the viewers and all the
yeah. For all the
listeners.
viewers, all the viewers.
Yo, you guys can tune in a couple weeks then.
Yeah.
So, alrighty, the podcast is officially over.